Let me ask you a question. If you had $1.5 million saved for retirement, would you feel safe? Most people would. And for decades, we've been told that if we just save enough money, hit that magic retirement number, and follow the rules, that we'll be fine. Work hard, max your 401k, invest in the market, hit 1 million, maybe even 1.5 million, and ride off into the sunset. But here's the uncomfortable truth. For millions of Americans, 1.5 million might actually not be enough. Not because you did anything wrong, but because the rules of retirement have quietly changed. Taxes are higher than people expect, healthcare costs are exploding, inflation is silently destroying purchasing power, and the stock market can betray retirees in ways that most people never see coming. In fact, many people who retire feeling financially secure end up discovering 10 or 15 years later their plan was far more fragile than they had realized. So in this video, we're gonna break down the 4 hidden killers of retirement, why the famous 4% rule may not be enough anymore, and most importantly, how to build a retirement strategy that actually survives the real world. Because retirement success isn't about hitting a number, it's about having a plan that can survive 30 years of uncertainty. Let's start with a simple example. Meet John and Jane. They're both 62 years old. John spent 35 years working as an engineer. Jane worked in marketing. They did everything right. They maxed out their 401ks, avoided bad debt, invested consistently, paid off their house, and after decades of saving, they finally reached their goal. 1.5 million saved for retirement. On paper, they're the definition of success. They run the classic retirement calculation, the 4% rule, which says you can withdraw 4% of your portfolio each year without running out of money. And for them, that equals, 1.5 million times 4% is $60,000 per year. That's $5,000 per month. Not bad. Add Social Security later and life looks pretty comfortable. Travel, grandkids, relaxation, everything looks perfect. But there's a problem. Their plan is built on assumptions that no longer match reality. And there are 4 hidden forces about to hit their retirement. The first surprise retirees face is taxes. Most people look at their retirement accounts and think I have 1.5 million. But if most of that money is in traditional 401ks and IRAs, the IRS sees something very different. They see future taxable income. And that changes everything. Every dollar withdrawn from those accounts is taxed as ordinary income. So let's say John and Jane withdraw their planned $60,000, they think they're getting $5,000 per month. But after federal and state taxes, that might really be closer to $4,200 to $4,400 per month. That missing money, gone to taxes. But the bigger problem arrives later. At 73, something called required minimum distribution kicks in. The government forces retirees to start withdrawing money whether they want to or not. And those withdrawals increase every year, which means John and Jane might suddenly be forced to withdraw 80, 90 to 100 plus $1,000. That income stacks with Social Security. And suddenly they're pushing into higher tax brackets in the retirement than they had while working. The retirement tax trap is real and most people don't see it coming. Now, let's talk about the biggest financial wild card in retirement, healthcare. John and Jane are retiring at 62, but Medicare doesn't start until 65. That 3-year gap can be brutally expensive. Private healthcare insurance for a couple in their early 60s can easily cost $1,800 to $2,200 per month. That's roughly $25,000 per year. Remember their $60,000 retirement income? Now, nearly half of it is gone before they even visit a doctor. And once Medicare kicks in, many people assume that healthcare becomes cheap. It doesn't. According to estimates, the average retired couple may spend around $300,000+ on healthcare during retirement. That includes Medicare premiums, prescription coverage, deductibles, co-pays, out-of-pocket expenses. That's roughly $1,000 per month for life. Healthcare alone can destroy a retirement budget that looked perfectly reasonable on paper. The third killer is quiet, invisible, and incredibly powerful. Inflation. Let's say John and Jane needs $60,000 per year today. Sounds manageable, but if inflation averages just 3% per year, something important happens. In about 24 years, prices double. That means when John and Jane are in their 80s, their $60,000 lifestyle will require probably $120,000 plus per year. Groceries will cost more, gas will cost more, travel costs more, everything costs more. But their retirement plan assumed today's prices forever. Inflation quietly eats away at purchasing power year after year. And by the time people realize it, it's often too late to fix. Now we reach the most dangerous risk most retirees have never heard of: sequence of returns risk. This is the risk that the market crashes early in retirement. Let me explain why that matters. If you're 35 and the market crashes, that's good. Stocks are now on sale, but if you're retired and withdrawn money, it's a completely different story. Let's say the market drops 25% in the first year of retirement, John and Jane's $1.5 million becomes $1.125 million, but they still need $60,000 to live. So if they withdraw it, which means they're now selling investments while prices are down, and those losses become permanent. Even if the market recovers later, their portfolio may never fully recover. This is how retirees run out of money despite average returns looking perfectly fine on paper. Quick question for you. What number do you believe that you need to retire? 1 million, 2 million, 5 million? Drop it in the comments down below. I'm curious to see what people think, and it would be greatly appreciated if you're enjoying this video, hit that thumbs up button, and as well consider subscribing. For you doing those 3 things, here's a cute picture of my pups. Most don't realize that retirement isn't just about numbers, it's about strategy. The first solution is smarter tax planning. Instead of relying entirely on pre-tax accounts, retirees should aim for multiple tax buckets. Think of 3 types of accounts: taxable accounts, tax-deferred accounts, and then tax-free accounts such as Roth IRAs. You would pay the tax rate of today versus paying the tax rate of later on. This gives you flexibility. One powerful strategy retirees use is Roth conversions. Between retirement and age 73, many retirees experience their lowest income years. That creates a window to convert money from traditional IRAs into Roth accounts at lower tax rates, which reduces future RMDs and creates tax-free income later in life. That can save retirees hundreds of thousands in taxes over time. Instead of rigid withdrawal rules, retirees should use dynamic spending strategies. When markets are strong, spend more. When markets drop, spend slightly less. Even small adjustments can dramatically increase portfolio survival rates. Some retirees also use the bucket strategy. Bucket number 1, cash, 1 to 3 years of expense. Bucket number 2, bonds and balanced investments. Bucket number 3, growth investments like stocks. This allows retirees to avoid selling stocks during market crashes. Another huge lever is when to claim Social Security. Many people claim them early at 62, but benefits increase roughly 8% per year if delayed up to age 70. That can increase lifetime income dramatically. For many retirees, delaying Social Security is like purchasing a guaranteed inflation-adjusted pension, and those are incredibly valuable. So let's go back to our original question. Is 1.5 million enough to retire? The honest answer? It depends. For some people, it's more than enough. For others, it may fall short. But the key takeaway is this: retirement success isn't determined by your savings number, it's determined by your strategy, taxes, healthcare, inflation, market risk. These forces don't care about your retirement spreadsheet, but if you plan for them correctly, you can build a retirement that survives all of them.